Hello, and welcome to Aesop Grimm's Chronicles, where the emphasis is on immersion and storytelling. While some games contain mature themes or language, you can expect clean commentary from me as a narrator. Additionally, I will provide a content summary in the intro video for each chronicled series, so no one is blindsided or surprised. Let's play a story. Hello Internet, and welcome to the channel. I am Aesop Grimm, and this is the intro video for my upcoming chronicle, Total War Warhammer 2, The Grim Warden. That is the Grim and Paunch DLC. It's the latest DLC for this game. Came out in June, I believe, maybe late May, and it is now July of the same year. And so, content briefings. That's what my intro video tends to be about. I don't like anybody to be surprised. I try to stay conscientious both of parents who are working from home and might have little ones around, as well as those who have had troubling experiences that could have flashbacks or get, quote unquote, triggered by certain kinds of content. And so the whole idea being, if you watch a series on my channel, you should never be surprised by the content, or as minimally as possible, you should not be surprised by seeing the content of the video games. Okay, so that said, the ESRB rating for Total War Warhammer 2 is T for teen. Alcohol references, blood, mild language, mild suggestive themes, and violence. And the briefing reads, this is a real-time strategy game based on the Warhammer universe in which players fight for supremacy in a fantastical world. Players follow a storyline while commanding races and factions, such as elves and lizardmen, and engaging in diplomacy. From a top-down perspective, players arrange armies and fantasy creatures on the battlefield, giving commands and observing combat. Battles are highlighted by cries of pain, impact sounds, and depictions of bodies scattered on the battlefield. Cutscenes depict characters stalked and stabbed by assassins, with splashes of pink blood on the screen. Some creatures are depicted with bloody wounds during gameplay. The dialogue occasionally references suggestive material, such as, but the truth is like an expensive, bad word for a lady of the night, Jarek. She comes in many dresses and will bend over for any with the money to pamper her. That is hands down the most graphic, worst line I've ever heard attributed to the Total War Warhammer video game series. I've never seen that in my gameplay at all, or anything even close to it. So I'm not sure where that is coming from. I'm not accusing ESRB of lying. I am suggesting a sentence like that has got to be the exception in this game and not the rule, because that's pretty strong language in my opinion. Another example, a man born of Doc, bad word for ladies of the night, yet calls himself a prince. Dialogue also references wine, ale, grog, and binge drinking, e.g. the favorite dwarf pastime is drinking. Gorog is Khazalid for binge drinking. One cutscene also depicts poisoned wine splashing from a goblet. The words arse and bastard appear in dialogue. And I like to give, I use the ESRB rating, and then we might as well call it standard, because I like this site. It's called Common Sense Media, and they rate this game as age 15 plus with a steep learning curve that leads to epic violent fantasy battles. What parents need to know? Parents need to know that Total War Warhammer 2 is a fantasy-based real-time strategy game available for Windows PCs. Based on Games Workshop's popular Warhammer franchise, it requires players to control large armies of fantasy characters and creatures that battle each other with a variety of medieval weapons and magical abilities. The game has a lot of complex gameplay elements, and the tutorial only covers the absolute basics, which can leave newcomers overwhelmed. Violence is central to the game, and while it's generally presented on a larger scale, players do have the ability to zoom into the action and see the fighting up close. Finally, the game's dialogue does include some mild language, references to alcohol use, and occasional sexually suggestive lines used chiefly as insults. Okay, I think that is a good all-around content briefing. It gives you an idea of the sort of game that's coming up. I also have an example video that I'm going to unveil here on this intro video right now. This is footage captured of a battle that I fought. It's a replay of a battle I fought. It'll have some examples of some of the violent acts that are described in that content briefing. But I do think that you guys have a heads up now, and you have the information needed to make your own decision from this point forward. I feel like I've supplied that. Okay, so what am I trying to do with this game? Well, I'm trying to beat it, but I can't guarantee that. I've never played this DLC to its completion. I have several times now played it to about turn 35 to 40 to get an idea of how things work. But I don't know if I'm going to be prepared for Grom's invasion or not. We might lose this campaign. I am realizing on a number of my playthroughs that Chronicle number 1 is oftentimes a learning experience. And so I have beaten this game twice now with a couple different factions. But that's it. I've played the game a lot more than I've beaten the game. And I usually end up stopping at about mid-game, and I'll go to another video game, or I'll switch to a different faction or something like that. And I've also played a number of different kinds of mods. The game I'm going to be playing here is going to be modded. I will list the mods off for you right now. I am using improved arrow trails, cinematic battle effects, reskin, Dry Rain's reskin all in one. I think he calls himself Hooverick now, or they call themselves, I'm not sure. Alternative lighting, less blood and less gore, which, believe me, it's still plenty gory enough. I just took this because I felt like the level that it was at just looked like people just stepped out of buckets of red paint. So it looked a little silly to me. Darker and deeper sea, improved border colors, better camera mod, improved lighting and weather, faster end turn camera, immersive battle banners, darker grand campaigns, less buff and effect video effects, less campaign map fog, skip intro logs, faction unit cards 2, and building progression icons 2. Okay, so no overhauls, and most of my mods are graphics related or a quality of life thing like skipping intro logs. I don't know if I even have anything that affects gameplay. I think all of this is graphics related. Yeah, it is. It's all graphics. So we'll be playing those mods on this playthrough. I have played the game enough to have an opinion about what they bring to the table with the Grim side of the Grim and the Paunch DLC, and I've got to say, it's neat. I think the mechanics they've introduced are terrific. I think the character they chose has a really interesting backstory if you want to look up the lore. This guy is like hardcore, man. He's an ideologue. He has very, very, very strong convictions, and he will sacrifice anything and everything for it. He's a true soldier. He's not a politician. He's not a diplomat. You'll often hear him whenever we move to a place. He'll spit a line out like, "The smallest quarters are mine." This guy is no frills. He is all about being gritty, being tough, and going out there and meting out justice to those who need it. Right? And he brooks no quarter. If you're a bad guy, he's out to put you in his dungeon. One of the things that he's done that he has on his as a big part of his background is that he's I think the only high elf to have ever taken an army, and this was a lightning strike, mind you. It was a no warning attack. He went into Dark Elf lands, and he sieged down their capital,
And he just did it like pedal to the metal, man. He was like, that needs to die. We're going. And he took a whole army and struck into Dark Elf territory so quickly and so fast that they didn't really have time to raise the alarm. And sieged the capital. I can't remember the other details. I'm not sure if he sieged it completely down or if he just really put a hurting on them. But I do know that by the time the Dark Elves started to respond with massive forces, and right before this dude was going to get cut off, he got his army and they started to exfiltrate. And then he got hit by a witch elf with a poisoned dagger. Dude almost died on the trip back to his territory, but he lived. He lived to tell the tale. So this guy's very gritty. He's an easy character to get behind, in my opinion. And the fact that you are renovating his dungeons in order to put bad guys away, and you can capture bosses, and you have a number of options you can do with them that bring different bonuses and stuff like that. Man, I'm just telling you, it's pretty cool. Now, I have not looked at the Paunch side of the Grim and the Paunch, the orc side. And I have almost no experience at all with orcs, but so I can't speak to that. But for the Grim Warden side, it's nifty. Now, am I going to beat this thing? I don't know. I don't know what's coming at me after, turn 40 or so. I don't know what I need to do to be prepared. How many armies do I need? Do I need to just take about 2 territories? If I'm lucky enough to get 2 territories at home, should I just turtle? I don't think so. That's what I was doing before, but then I saw some stuff in the game that really makes me think pretty strongly that we're supposed to go on the offensive. We're supposed to go hit the orc badlands and just start raising Cain, man. and I think that's how I'm going to play this. And that's a very aggressive mode. And you can outstrip your supply lines. I don't know. It's not my typical method. I like defense. I like defense in sports, and I like defensive strategies. I like the idea of setting a trap up and baiting the enemy to walk in towards you. I am not as good at being on the forward front end, seizing the initiative like a General Patton kind of take. And I love that take. I just know myself, I know that's not my natural tendency. And this one pretty much demands it, I think. And so we'll see how I can handle that and how it goes. But it's a fun game. I guarantee you, if you like Total War Warhammer, you're going to enjoy watching this. And watch however much you want. I guess I'm realizing this sounds like self-promotion, which always sounds a little weird in my mind. I don't think of it that way. This is one gamer talking to a bunch of other gamers saying, this thing's pretty good. And, check it out a little bit on my channel. See if you want to purchase it yourself. There's a Steam summer sale going on right now. I'm not sure if you can get it I don't know if it's on sale or not, but you can at least check it out for a few episodes and see what you think. I have found it to be quite entertaining, and we'll see how far I can take it. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and close this episode. We're climbing up on 14 minutes for an intro video. Again, I'm Aesop Grimm. Thank you for coming by the channel and giving this thing a shot. I hope you like what you saw, and I will see you in the next episode where this story begins. Thanks for visiting Aesop Grimm's Chronicles. If you've made it this far in the video, please consider rating, commenting, subscribing, and sharing. I hope to see you in the next episode, and until then, stay shiny.